Hayes' Hard Drive brings to you your favorite musicians. Now, here he is, Delane, with today's artist interview.
The blues has always been totally American as apple pie. My next guest has a deep-rooted heritage in the blues. Born and raised in southern Louisiana, and at the age of 3, Slim Harpo gifted him his first harmonica. Since that time, he's been nominated for Grammys, inducted into the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame, and he is the 2019 Blues Music Award Contemporary Blues Male Artist of the Year. Welcome to Hayes' Hard Drive, Mr. Kenny Neal. What's going on, big guy?
Oh, it's all good, man. How you doing? Okay?
Man, I'm doing wonderful, and I'm really excited because the blues is my thing, and you're somebody that has always been up at the top of my list to want to talk to. Just the way that you play, the way that you write, and just everything about it just breeds your roots that you have, man, and it's such an honor to be able to talk to you.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
So I mentioned before, just a moment ago, about your roots in blues, and you were playing in your dad's band at the age of 13, and a
little before that.
Before that, so it's even before that, and then around 17, when I was actually just trying to figure out who I was in life, you're out on the road playing in Buddy Guy's band.
And the way that came about, and back in 1956 and 57, my dad had Buddy Guy in his band as a guitar player.
Wow.
And my buddy was my dad's guitar player down here because they only lived about 25 miles apart, and they become real close friends. And so they had a gig one night, and they opened up for Muddy Waters and Lil Walter. And Muddy discovered Buddy Guy and my dad and invited them to come to Chicago. And my dad had just started a family. So Buddy took off and left, and my dad stayed back and raised us. I'm the eldest of 10. And throughout the years, Buddy would always come back and visit and come by the house. And, I grew up, I don't even remember when I learned to play. And, going out to little juke joints with my dad as a kid, 7, 8 years old, and doing the James Brown and all that stuff and the mashed potatoes. And, on weekends. And I knew then I wanted to play music. And so I just kept it up. And instead of playing football and baseball games on weekends, I would go to juke joints with my dad. And he would be my guardian and watch me and let me play for, 20 minutes. And I was in heaven, man. So when I got 17, 18 years old, I was playing a gig here in Baton Rouge, and Sam Guy, Buddy Guy brother, put a little paper in my pocket and said, and when I took a break, I checked my pocket and it said, Buddy Guy, call him. And that's where it started. I go, what do Buddy Guy want with me? And I went to the phone. I called him Collect, and he told me he wanted me to meet him in Austin, Texas, at Antone's. That was in 1976.
Kenny, that is, I'm just thinking about your dad taking you into the juke joints, and just correlating today's time into that day, into that era, and just how things today have progressed, and that would be crazy to take a kid into a juke joint like that, and people would look and be like, oh my, what is this guy doing? And
exactly.
But that's the way that's the way you kind of had roots and made things happen. And I'm sure that it only took a couple of minutes, and everybody was kind of elbowing one another, but hey man, look at that kid up there. That's awesome.
Man, I made more money than my dad band members because they would all call me to the table and put $1 or $2 in my pocket, and by the time I make my round, I have a 2 pockets full of dollars.
I think parents today, being a parent of a 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old, we want to protect our kids from everything. Yeah. But in some cases, I know for myself, you just look and be like, we got, you just kind of got to let them do. They can do amazing things if you just let them do it. And your dad obviously knew that you had a talent early on. He wouldn't even bothered to take you to these places or bothered introducing you to some of these. I mean, we're talking about Buddy Guy here, and
man.
this is Buddy Guy played in your dad's band. That is remarkable.
So it came around in circles, man. It came back around. I guess Buddy was doing my dad a favor by putting me in his band.
Well, and you know what? To piggyback off of what you just said, maybe, but and I know because I've had the opportunity to see Buddy play multiple times. He didn't put you in his band just to do a favor. You had to have some chops to be able to play with him.
Oh,
so you know what,
well,
you had done
keep
it.
Up with him when
That's
I was
right.
young like that.
Not only we're talking about playing music. Not only are you an accomplished guitarist, harpist, you're also a great songwriter, and all of these things musically that we're talking about. The accomplishments that you had even before you turned 21. But in '91. You had a stint on Broadway in a production of Mulebone. And that just, it almost makes me want to, hey, Kenny, what can't you do, man? How was that? What was that like being out on Broadway, kind of stepping out of your comfort zone, playing the clubs, playing the, on the stage, and now you go to Broadway.
Well, I was so excited about getting a record deal with Alligator back then. And, I think I was into my third CD, and I was excited about it. It was called Walking on Fire, probably the fourth one. And I had the James Brown horn section, Maisie Parker, Fred Wesley. And I was so excited because, I grew up listening to James Brown and knew who Maisie Maisie blow your horn. So having him on my album was just a, pleasure, man. And so I was excited, but just before it came out, I get a call from the Lincoln Center and wanted me to fly to New York to read for a Broadway play. And I go, hey, man, you got the wrong guy, I think. And so my manager said, well, I would do it. I said, man, I'm not an actor. Why should I go to Broadway and go to read for this, So he talked me into it, and we flew to New York. And I met with the folks from the Lincoln Center, and I read for them. And to me, it was awful. When I came out of that room with the reading the scripts, I said, well, that's one show I never get. And so I went on that night, and I had a chance to go out and see Albert King was playing at the Blue Note. And I went to see him that night, and on my way back, I told my manager, I said, well, one good thing about it, I had a chance to see Albert King and talk to him tonight, so something good came out of this trip. Well, lo and behold, 2 weeks later, they called me and said congratulations, I had the part.
That's awesome.
And then my heart drops. And so I had to go to, they gave me intensive coaching lessons, gave me a great coach. Her name was Novella Nelson. And she worked with me probably about 3-4 months before I went into rehearsal. And it was a lot of work, but the weirdest thing about it, I did the Broadway play. I had the lead role, 27 people in my cast. And it was just a great run after I figured it all out. It was a lot of work. And after it was all over, I ended up winning a Theater World Award for the most outstanding newcomer actor.
Wow.
And that kind of blew my mind on that. I wasn't expecting it at all.
Well, I mean, hey, you went from you pretty much cast the whole thing aside after you left. This is done. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm getting back to doing my thing. And you go from.
I was excited. The Broadway show was closing down, so I can get back to the stage and play the blues again.
Yeah, but you had shut down even the idea of being in this play, and then the next thing you know, you're winning an award, and you're the lead role in this whole thing. That's
yeah, exactly.
Man, they talking about going from A to Z real quick, right?
That was it, man.
Well,
that was it.
We're fat.
I took the ball and ran with it after I figured out, the throwing your lines is just like phrasing your songs. Well, so my music helped me because I didn't have to sound bored every night. I can deliver a line in 7 different ways if I wanted to, because I would phrase them different.
And all because of the influence of music and how you would
Yes.
do things, and because in the blues is that way as well. I mean,
Yeah.
there's you could play the same song. I talked to somebody the other day. I said one of the reasons why I love the blues so much is I could go see an artist every night and they'd have the same exact set list, but it would be a completely different show every night.
Yeah, I never do the song the same way. It's always different.
In 2008, I know we're moving forward a bit, you hooked up with Big Ping Records and released Let Life Flow. The title track from that album would go on to receive the BMA Song of the Year, as well as being nominated for a Grammy in 4 different categories. I know that as we've talked a lot, that your motivation for everything comes from a deep-rooted love of this music. You love it, just like what
It's
you
in my
said,
blood.
But I bet it was really awesome to receive these accolades and have someone pat you on the back and say, "Hey, man, you're doing a great job."
Oh, yeah, all the time.
You know,
It's all.
and I mean, how was it that when you kind of have some of these and being nominated for Grammys and things like that? Does it change things for you when you're nominated for you, or that kind of stuff it's just kind of like side things for you? It's not really something that you really honestly care that much about. It's just more about the music for you.
Well, for me, man, it was like, okay, I'm still in the game. I'm still playing ball with everybody, and I thank my dad, you know, in spirit for giving me what he gave me, and it's not like I flip head over heel and all of that stuff over it. It's like, okay, I thank God, they recognizing me. It's all good. I'm in the ball. I'm in the game. So that's the way I look at it, and keep moving, because I'm a country boy too. And man, when I'm not doing this, I'm out on my tractor and hanging out in the woods.
One of the first times that I ever had the opportunity, I don't know what it was. I was listening and it just popped up somehow or the other. I used to like listen to Pandora a lot or something, and the album with you and Debbie Davies and Tab Benoit popped up, and Still Called the Blues came on, and man, it just shook my world. And ever since then, I was like, who is this Kenny Neal guy? I've got to find out who he is. And ever since then, man, it's just been
Homesick for the Road. That was the name of that
Homesick for the
album.
Road is exactly right. Had that blue cover with all 3 of you on the front of the album.
That's right.
And man, it was and Tab as well, and Debbie. It just, man, what a great compilation you guys had there with that.
Well, Tab Benoit is like my little brother to me. When he was 14, 15 years old, my dad took him out as well. And all of the gigs Tab used to do down in New Orleans and around in Baton Rouge, he and my dad would do them together. My dad groomed Tab, that's why he used to always, Tab used to always call me his big brother, because I would be on the road doing my Alligator record tour, and Tab wasn't known then, and he would be back here playing with my dad.
How cool!
So,
it sounds like your dad was someone that for this love that he had of the blues, it was something he wanted to instill in all the others around him.
He was
just
passing
wanted
it on. When I look at it now, man, and he was always open, and I'm the same way. He was always open to helping other people, and open arms. And if you had some talent, you better not tell him, because he was going to test you. He was going to bring you up on stage.
Now, I know that we talked about some of the accolades a little bit. Some of the way that we're, that we feel about things, like it comes from our parents. It comes from the people that have loved us and motivated us. Was your dad someone that always challenged you? Hey, look, Dad, I'm really good. I'm the greatest. And your dad's like, hold on one second. and he would challenge you in that way? What was that relationship like?
My dad would never tell me if I did a good job or not. He said, "Oh, son, that was all right. You did pretty good. You wasn't too bad."
Yeah.
You know, he would never tell me, "Oh, you was great, son."
That's right.
Not until you know it was later in the years when he come out to a big concert and see me play. But coming up, oh no, he wasn't about to praise me.
You know what, man? I think that's awesome. You can't get the big head. You can't
No,
get
man,
to.
that's why I'm like I am now.
That's exactly.
Because,
well, and I thought that. That's what I thought when I was talking about the
Yeah.
awards. You were like, that's all right. It's good. And I was like, man, that comes from Dad. Dad had to tell
That's
him, hey, look, don't get too big for your britches now.
Oh no, that wasn't gonna happen, man. That wasn't gonna happen.
Well, you know what?
And he used to, if he see another, he have another kid, and he would tease me sometime if I was up against with other little kids. He was like, "Oh, that kid doing pretty good there." I didn't like that too much, man.
Of course not. You're like, come on,
Yeah.
Dad, man, I'm doing a good job
So
over here.
he would make me even try harder because I didn't want that kid to outdo me.
Well, you know what? I'm going to praise you here just a little bit because you know what, man, you're my special guest on the show. So we're going to take the folks back to that 2009 Blues Music Awards Song of the Year, Let Life Flow, and we will be back with more from bluesman Kenny Neal here.
I'll tell you about that song.
All right, here on Hayes' Hard Drive.
And just when you think you got it all figured out, here comes something you never dreamed about. Life is so unpredictable. That's the way it is. Bear sometime things out of nowhere to blow your mind. And one thing I know for sure, yeah, babe, you got to let life flow. You got to let life flow. 1 minute you up, the next minute you're down. You can't stay there. Keep your feet on the ground. Life is so unpredictable. That's the way it is. It get a little hard to bear sometimes. Things out of nowhere to blow your mind. One thing I know for sure, yeah, you got to let life flow. You got to let life flow. When you hit real hard and you feel the pain, you got to reach inside, find sunshine and rain. Life is so unpredictable. That's the way it is. It get a little hard to bear sometimes. Things out of nowhere to blow your mind. But one thing I know for sure, hey, you got to let life flow. the way it is. You got to let life flow. Don't worry. You got to let life flow.
We are back with the 2019 BMA Contemporary Blues Male Artist of the Year, Kenny Neal. And before we left you guys with the Let Life Flow song. That was the 2009 Blues Music Awards Song of the Year. And Kenny, before we left, you were talking about, you're going to tell us a little bit about that song.
Let Life Flow, man. I'll tell you, to let you know that everybody have their trials and tribulations in life, and I've been down that road where it was real bad for me. And Let Life Flow, that's how that song came about. Before I got ready to record that song, about a year prior to that, I lost my brother, died of liver cancer. Then my dad died of bone cancer 4 months later. And then another 4 months or less, a guy murdered my sister. And so I buried 3 family members in 11 months. And so after that was over with, 6-7 months later, I went in for a checkup and found I had liver disease. And so I had to take off the road for 2 years and take this awful medicine, interferon, ribavirin, and that set me back for a couple of years. But during that time, I got real sick. I lost my hair and was weak, couldn't get up one morning. And I said to myself, man, just when you think you got it all figured out, here comes something you never dreamed about. And I'm talking to myself because I couldn't get up to go to the restroom, bathroom. I say, life is so unpredictable. I say, but one thing I know for sure, I got to let life flow. And I wrote it down. And then a few months passed after I got better. I looked at my notes by my bedstand, and there the notes was. And like the song was already set up for me. And so I took my notes and I started writing other verses to it, and I went in and recorded the song, and I named the album Let Life Flow. And if you check that whole CD out, you'll hear me really hurting inside, because I did a lot of songs like Fly Away, another song I did called You Got to Hurt Before You Heal, because I was hurting at that time, and that was the only way I can relieve my pain, is to do it through my music. And that record is still being played today. And they play it at funerals, they play it at weddings. It's just amazing, because it just was a message that I had to deliver,
That is,
and that's where it came from.
That is an amazing story, and I thank you for just opening up and sharing that, because it's, to me, I feel like music is a lot like someone who's painting a masterpiece. I look at a lot of art and I have no earthly clue what it means. And then once someone tells me what it means, I'm like, oh, I can see that. And music is so much the same way. You have somebody that, tell you what the song is about and how it's a part of them. And literally you took a piece of yourself in this album and you put it down, and
when
you
I
played
sing
it.
that song, I mean it from my heart, because that's what I went through. So I'm not just singing it to sing another song.
Well,
I'm trying to deliver a message where when it's over with, people come up to me with tears in their eyes and go, hey, I understand. I just went through this. Thank you so much,
And that's your
And
way
and
of
that
communicating.
record really, that one song really changed my writing because I found out how many people I touched. And I say, you know what? I touched them in a good way. So I'm going to continue writing positive songs.
Amen.
And it's all right about my baby gone and left me and I'm drowning in my own tears and all that. But I can write so much better stuff than this that will help people that can't express themselves. And maybe they can get the message through my message.
That's deep, and it man, once again, music transcending into, to the bigger picture of life. People listen to your music, Kenny, and they do. They have a
Yeah,
way of to communicate themselves when they don't know what to say, when they don't know how to
exactly.
say what they feel. They can listen to your music and feel soothed and feel healed mentally, physically, emotionally, for that
Yeah.
matter. And
And
that's when
that's,
an artist becomes more than just someone who is playing music to make money. you
yeah.
know, and
But
that's
so I
amazing.
found out that work and I help a lot of people. So, man, my writing is totally different now. And I have, I still enjoy it, but I still try to stick with reality,
Right.
life itself.
Kenny, Buddy just put out a new album, and he entitled it "The Blues is Alive and Well." And I
Hmm.
know that the blues, like all genres, is an ever-changing landscape. Things change, and people make comments. And I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on this genre that we call the blues? What do you think about the condition of the blues today?
Well, um, what I think about the blues today is that everybody, I don't care where you come from. I'm producing a young lady now. Her name is Hannah PK. She's here from New York, but she's from Korea. And it makes me feel good because you don't have to just be from Mississippi and Louisiana in the South to have the blues.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody understand it. We all living human beings and we go through life and we're going to have our ups and downs. And that's where the blues came from down here in the South. But it don't only happen in the South, and for our music to touch so many people and they go, oh yeah, I hear that guy singing about the sky is crying, look at the tears roll down the streets. I understand that. And so when they relate and I see different cultures wanting to play it because they're expressing themselves, it's just open to everybody. And that's what I see with the blues. It had made itself around the world. And I'm happy to see it. And I'm happy that more people can express themselves through it.
It's
You
a
don't have to just be, black and from Mississippi and from the South, you know?
that's a lot of your dad coming out in you, Kenny, right there.
You know what I
I
mean?
never met your
Yeah.
dad before, but just
Yeah.
by what you've told me about him and his love of the
Oh
blues
yeah.
and your love that he gave you, and it's carrying on, man. You're doing exactly what he's doing. You're
Oh yeah, man.
having
He would do
somebody
the
from
same thing.
from Korea coming, and now you're producing them. They're playing the blues, and it just, the doors just keep opening, and you keep spreading this wonderful music that
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's rooted in America is rooted in the blues. It's
that's right.
and you're just carrying this tradition on, man.
I opened up a studio last year here. It's an old house that I had for many years, and I converted it over for musicians to come here and stay and get some good food and play, record. It's called Brookstown Recording,
Okay.
and I'm making it possible for younger kids to come here and play their music and do it at a cheap budget and just make it happen for them because I know it wasn't easy for me. So I'm just trying to help them where they can, take their career to another step.
Yeah.
So I opened that place up and it's been going well. People from all over the country been coming here,
That's amazing.
and it's just a small, little, nice, cozy place, but it's home for everybody where they can relax and express themselves.
Speaking of expressing yourself, 2016, you released Bloodline, and once again, you did good, man. It went on to receive the BMA Contemporary Blues Album of the Year, a Grammy nomination for Contemporary Blues Album of the Year. You won the BMA Contemporary Blues Male Artist of the Year. Take us through, writing, recording for this album, Bloodline.
Well, I'm like this. I'm not the one just gonna say, "Hey, man, I'm going to write a song today." I can't do it.
It's completely different for you.
It have to sit with me for a while. I have to run out and do something during the day and run into somebody, and we get into a conversation or something happen, and then boom, there go the song.
It's like it
I'm
floats
hanging
to
around
you.
my old buddies, and they get to talking. They might be talking a lot of noise, and all of a sudden one of them would say, "Hey, man, blues ain't nothing but a good man feeling bad." I said, "Oh, okay." So I go home and write it.
Hey, did they get any they get a recording credit for that
Man,
on the
look,
album?
my buddy who told me that, I gave him $200.
Hey,
I said, "Man, here $200, man. You just gave me an idea." He said, "I got a whole bunch of more."
Hey, all of a sudden, all your buddies think that they're going to be blues writers,
Yeah.
man.
I had it happen to me today, man. Some guy was singing to me out in the backyard, man. He was at the studio and he was doing some work around there for me. He knew I was recording, so he just broke out with a song, and it was good.
I'm sure I'm sure, Kenny, sometimes it's they write something. There's a really awkward pause, and you just shake your head, and you're like, "Nah, man, that's."
I had that happen yesterday. This guy was singing. I don't know where he come from, but he know me. He said he's my cousin. They all, when I get in the neighborhood, they all kin to me.
Yeah.
And he came out and he started singing some stuff, but it was rated X, man.
Ooh. Gotta watch it. Watch out,
funny,
man.
He was like Southern soul,
Oh man,
but I get it all the time, man, and I get, it's all fun because, I don't pass nobody up. Everybody is somebody.
That's right. Well, Kenny, man, I appreciate you first just taking the time out, but secondly, just sharing your heart, sharing your music, sharing the love that you have with us, and I just appreciate you stopping by and just giving us a real good history lesson about this music that we call the blues. And you guys, please make sure to go check Kenny out by going to his website, Kenny Neal. That's NEAL.net. And this next song, Kenny, is something that I believe that all of us could use a little bit more of. Off the award-winning album Bloodline, it is Plain Old Common Sense. This is Delane Hayes, and you are listening to Hayes' Hard Drive.
Well, some folks think they smart 'cause they went to school. Ain't nothing worse than a educated fool walking around with their head bigger than their hat, and they only know half of the facts. Don't be too quick to jump the fence. You got to use plain old common sense. They work real hard to reach their goal. They let the least thing take control. Tired of losing and wanna win, and then they do the same old foolish thing again. Don't be too quick to jump the fence. You got to use plain old common sense. Plain old common sense. Plain old the fence, you got to use plain old common sense. Twice and only speak once. Don't let your mouth overload your tongue. Sometimes it's better to listen than to be heard. You're better off not saying a word. Don't be too quick to jump the fence. You got to use plain old common sense.